What's good, YouTube? I am the one and only Ant-Man816 here with former, current, reigning, undisputed plant champion. I'm just kidding. We're here with ActionYGO with his. I'll let him get into this.
This is just a plant pile, essentially. It's like every good plant engine because, let's be honest, Ragnara kind of, their only good cards to play with them are plants.
Yes, because it's plants, insects, and reptiles, correct?
Yeah, it's plants, insects, and reptiles. Unfortunately, the insect stuff like locks you into insects, which means you have like no good payoff. Reptiles kind of do the same thing, except like I think the only good engines you can really mix it with is like pure plants and trap tricks. And the only reason you'd want to do trap tricks is because like, you get better end board pieces like Rafflesia. I actually debated playing Rafflesia in here, but there's not enough room. 85 card deck, by the way. So I did actually organize this a little differently. Instead of going by like monsters first, I organized it by engine.
No, that's fine, because for 58 cards, this engine is...
Yeah. So the first engine is just the Ragnara engine. It's 3 Seed, 1 Samurai Beetle, and 1 Bloom. This engine worked spectacularly. My only issue with it is just, the lock. Because we are playing one card in here that isn't a plant, insect, or reptile. And unfortunately, that card's kind of important for your end board, because otherwise you just lose to evenly matched, which was like my only loss today, was evenly matched in Dark World, and then he just played for like 20 minutes. But this engine's very good. I would not recommend starting with it. I think it's much better as extension. Let your opponent hand trap your dry ass, and then just use this as extension to play afterwards. It works much better like that. Don't start with these unless you have to. This card also does not negate the monster that you bring back. I'm like pretty positive of that. Yeah, it doesn't negate, so you can do some pretty cool combos with this. I apologize, I'm relatively new to the Ragnara stuff.
It's a brand new engine, brand new from the brand new set. You're fine.
The good stuff. 3 unexpected die to work with our 3 loci, 1 twin, and 1 sewing. I actually wanted more sewing today because of an additional card that I'm playing, which I'll be showcasing towards the end. If I was playing less, I'm playing. It's either 57 or 58 cards. If I was playing less, I would cut it down to 2 loci, because drawing this later on in your combo isn't particularly good. And this is honestly just a hand trap magnet. If your opponent lets this resolve, you win. But like, your opponent is not going to let this resolve because they know they lose.
Yep.
Like, everyone knows this is just the best vanilla in the game.
Because I'm expecting plants to win Euros yet again. I'm they're going for the 3P like the Chiefs are.
For the Aroma package, I played 3 Blend, 1 Humid Wind, 2 Rosalina, 2 Laurel, and 1 Angelica. This is honestly like more than you really want to play, but you have to play it like this. The Blend is a starter because you can activate the Blend, set the winds, and then winds into Rosalina. You have to play 2 Laurel because Rosalina can only summon non-tuners, which means you can't summon the Angelica. You have to summon the Laurel. And the Angelica is just like an extension piece that's searchable through multiple avenues. You can also use Humid Winds on the opponent's turn to search this and then use this to gain life. Kind of like a crazy little interaction. Realistically, you're just playing this as an extender though. Because when you get your link monsters, you can just add this, gain life. It also works with another card that I'm going to be showing towards the end, which has some really, really fun interactions with this deck. The last, well, not the last plant engine, the next plant engine is Rikka. 3 of the best Rikka Princess, 2 Mudon, 1 Primelia, 1 Snowdrop, 1 Petal, 2 Con, 3 Glamour, and 1 Sheet. I liked this quite a bit. I only wish that I played 1 additional Petal. The reason why I wish I played 1 Petal is just to have the extra level 1 in your deck. You can use Glamour to search for a Rikka, and then you have to have the correct Rikka level. So if you already get your pedal into rotation, you can't search for your level 1s. And what I found is a lot of times when you're using this engine, you can use this as an extension, searching for pedal, and then Evil Seed, discard the pedal, summon the Evil Seed, and you can play from there. But if you don't have the additional pedal in your deck, it's just not an avenue that you're able to do, which means you have to use the level 8 avenue, or you have to use level 4. And that doesn't really like keep your link plays going. It's more of like an end board.
Okay.
But this is like the whole reason to play this deck, because this stuff interacts hilariously with Tempai. I hate Tempai. I think that deck is just like, it's kind of flu-like. The deck just does what it does, and it plays around traditional avenues, which is why it's good.
Warrock died so Tempai could fly.
Yeah, it's literally like Warrock and Flu had a baby. But Concon...
That is the best thing ever. That's the best explanation of Tempai ever.
Concon allows you to tribute Tempais, even if they have the field spell, because Concon, like, is not an activated effect. It just allows you to tribute their cards.
Yeah.
Which means you can play around them in a more traditional sense rather than having to wait until battle phase. But even if you do wait until battle phase, like, you're still good. That's just a good to know thing, because you can get rid of like their synchros before you go to battle phase, which sometimes can prevent you from doing things that you want to do.
Sounds good. And we're just halfway through the deck now.
Yeah, I also play 3 Glamour because I just want like more extension pieces. I want my opponent to hand trap me, and then I just want to keep going. It's kind of the goal with this deck, because you're playing a lot of little engines. The last plant engine is just the Therion package, which is 3 Lily, 1 Disc Coliseum, and 1 Regulus. Regulus is the only non-plant or insects that we're playing, so this does conflict with like some of the other engines. There is a way to play around that though. If you open enough extenders, you can use the Aroma spell, Aroma Blend. You can like get a Lily into rotation, use the Lily to search for the Disc Coliseum. Disc Coliseum, search Regulus, Aroma Blend, discard the Regulus, and then when you get to your other Lily, assuming you haven't used its effect to like summon itself, you can summon it by targeting the king, and that will allow you to kind of get around the plant lock and still end on a negate. But you need to open pretty well to be able to do that. Like, for example, when I played against Dark World, I didn't open enough extenders to do that, and I opened like a million negates, but you know, a million negates with no spell and trap negate is like 2 interruptions after your opponent evenly matches you.
Yep.
The non-related engine plant that I play is just 1 Lone Fire Blossom. This is primarily because, like, if you open in specific ways, you can Lone Fire Blossom off the effect of your Link 2, your Jasmine, and then you contribute off Jasmine to summon a Lokai from your deck or any of your other engine pieces, primarily Lokai, just so you can like clear extra monster zone and then get out like 4 extenders. Like it ends you on like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards to play with if you do it like that. So if you know like you're clear, you can really use that as a good way to OTK your opponent. But honestly, Lone Fire Blossom is not mandatory.
But it's plants.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real. Like, I don't want my opponent to Ash Blossom me because I decided to normal summon a Lone Fire Blossom. Not fun.
Yeah.
I decided to play Board Breakers over Hand Traps because this deck wants a lot of your like pieces to go. And like, I think if you're playing a lot of cards, you need to play a lot of Hand Traps to justify that, and I just don't have the space for it. So I'd rather play like these cards to get stuff done either way. Like, I want to play Talents, I want to play Imperm. These cards are just very, very good this format. And they help you get a lot of your other engine pieces going.
And then with everyone playing Hand Traps, the Thrust just help you get into so much.
Well, I think Thrust, my opinion on Thrust is that you should only run Thrust in decks that have like a starter that is a regular spell. And you have that in the case of both Glamour and, well, you have Glamour, you have Blend, and then you also have Die. So you have multiple cards that you can use to allow Thrust to just let you keep going. But then you also have like regular traps that you can set like sheet, which
Yes.
a lot of times you don't get access to sheet if you're forced to go the glamour route. So it's just very good in this deck in particular. My super special card that I played, my super special Fudgy Awesome card that worked super well today, was 3 copies of Blink Out. This is like an additional board breaker, but also like an extender. So if you don't know what this card does, you can target a Link monster, yours or your opponent's, return it to the extra deck, and then if one of your monsters was used as material to summon it, you can bring back one of those monsters. So let's say you go for your Dryas, and your opponent is being funny, and they decide to Effect Veiler it. Well, you can Blink Out, return this to your extra deck. You get to resolve the effect because the monster is no longer on field. You get to bring back your loci. So you get your search, and then you can just do it again because this card does not want to return.
Oh, sweet lord.
Which is why, honestly, moving forward, I'm gonna play an additional copy of Sewing. You can't use the extra copy, but it functions really. It's like very important as a discard outlet, and also like Sewing isn't bad if you can just make this and activate Sewing because it gets you like 2 cards even if it gets you 3 total monsters on board even if you don't make this with loci. So it's very good. The other interaction with this is your Jasmine is a soft once per turn as well. So you can go Jasmine. Use its searching effect, do everything you want to do, go into a Rosalina, or Rosemary. Rosemary effect, search, Angelica. Blink Out, go back into your Jasmine, use this card's effect, gain a life, search for a different card, so you're able to search for any plant that way. And then your life points are going to be higher than your opponent, so you can just bring this back. So it gets you a search, and it gets you back into the same link rating. And then going second, this card is hilarious just against like Apo, Unchained Soul of Rage, IP or SP. You just target your opponent's monster when they try and interact with you. You bounce it back to the extra deck, and then you just keep going. It's very good in here. I don't know about it in other decks.
That is brand new, right?
It is brand new. It's a common from the newest set. I don't know about this in every deck. I really don't. In this deck, it's spectacular.
It's just funny.
It's very funny. If you have a deck with like soft once per turn like Lynx, I think you should definitely be playing this.
I just want to do it on someone's access code before they try to attack me for game.
Like it's okay defensively. And that's why I'm comfortable main decking it. I think it's a little bit better than like playing a million hand traps and then playing like cross out. Because this is just as many ways to deal with your opponent's hand traps without having to play all those bricks.
Yep.
The only other cards I was playing in the main deck were just Called by the Grave and 1-for-1. 1-for-1 is absolutely necessary as a target for thrust. And then Called by the Grave was actually pretty mid today. I don't know if I'd keep playing this. But you are playing a 1-card combo deck, like it's probably worth it.
When you see it, it helps. If you don't see it, oh well.
Yeah. The extra deck was pretty pretty self-explanatory. Your poor singular Dryas and your 1 healer now, because Konami hates plants for some reason.
Euros hates plants.
That's called Inverse Forerunners. But it's basically like
1 Dance Peon, 1 Ragnara Skeletal Soldier. Like, these are good. So Skeletal Soldier is actually incredibly important for this deck because it's the only plant monster that is not banned that you can make theoretically using anything. Like, you still have to use a plant, reptile, or insect in order to make this, but the other material can be anything. The only other plant that existed with semi-generic restrictions was Verte Anaconda. It's very funny that card got banned. I think it would have been fine if it was a vanilla. Like, if it was a vanilla, at a certain point, I would have played it in this deck, but...
Verte had to go.
Yeah, Verte had to go. I remember very early on when I was playing this, I played a single Verte just because, like, you could make it with whatever. You can, like, steal an opponent's monster and make it with that, but thank God we have this now.
Next one, Kaldheim, Green, Elven, Ambush.
3 Jasmine, 1 Rosemary. Pretty self-explanatory. This gets you going. Rosemary is very good now because you can use the the spell card in order to set up your fusion and get your search. Very good extender. One Sun Avalon Melios. This card's pretty self-explanatory as well, but honestly it was pretty mid today. And part of the reason it was so mid is I think Begalancer is not great this format. It has to interact during the main phase, so if you're playing against Tempai, it does nothing. If you're playing against Snake Eye just makes a relinquished anima and it points up, so you have to make it in like the bottom, which is kind of hard to do sometimes. Otherwise, they can just steal this.
What are you looking for?
And like bouncing an opponent's monster in Snake Eye is honestly like not the best. They can just kind of keep going.
Yes.
So I could see cutting these two at some point for something else. So whatever.
Next one. Lord of the Rings,
We have
Elvis.
2 Rikka Queen,
Lord of the Rings
1
set?
Teardrop,
I think so.
1 Sacred Beast Hyperton. These are also pretty self-explanatory. You want 2 because sometimes you make the second one for the opponent's turn. You always want to end on this card because if your opponent evenly matches you, you just keep it with a with like your other level 4 in the graveyard, so you can keep playing even after they evenly matched you.
Yeah.
It's kind of how you get around. Like it makes it to where you can play around like 3 cards in your opponent's hand as opposed to like 2, which is pretty good. And the last extra deck monster we played was just 1 copy of the Aroma Lilith Magnolia.
Yes, Michael?
This card is not a great end board piece,
Probably like
but it
20.
is a level 8, which means you can use it as an Xyz material to make Teardrop, which is primarily what I was doing.
Yeah, I'm still finishing
Like,
the deck.
you can summon most of your guys in defense mode, or your guys have protection through sowing, so you really don't fear Lightning Storm that much. So, like, keeping this on board kind of sucks. It's really good offensively. Like, if you're trying to OTK your opponent, it's very good, but, like, I'd much rather use it as an Xyz material for Rikka Queen.
Okay.
The side deck was pretty janky.
We'll move it quick then.
I did play 1 copy of Dryatrinia and 1 Sun Avalon Bloom. I'm actually debating main decking these over
Alright, the next. Elvish Promenade, Commander Palatine.
Begalancer, because this card has 0 attack, and as a result, Ubel, it kind of just laughs at Ubel,
Yes.
and it searches a big, like, field-wide negate, so it's very good against Tempai. You just have to play, like, the main deck
All these cards that you
Rick.
said you had. Critter,
And then this also gives you another way to deal with opponent's back row, which is another weakness of this deck. Like, this card against Ubel, which I played twice today, I sided in both times and it was spectacular against Ubel.
I don't have it, but give me one sec. What was that?
This is also like a slow OTK tool because people never read the second effect on this card.
You think Finale of Devastation is necessary?
So
Makes
honestly,
sense.
we might be main decking this. Probably find room in the main.
Find out what's
Okay.
more expensive. Green Sun's
The rest of it was like pretty simple. Played 1 anti-spell, 1 rivalry.
Floodgates, woo!
Yeah, it's a local, so like I don't know about main decking this, but like if I was going to a big event, I'd probably main deck it. 1 dimensional barrier just as an additional plus target. I had space for 1 card, so why not? 3 evenly matched, 3 cosmic, 3 lightning storm, and 1 Harpy's Feather Duster because this deck hates back row, and so do I.
Yeah.
And the last card I played was just 1 Predaplant Spider Orca. If you have any knowledge of plants, you know that this is basically it's a staple in the side because you can search it through multiple different avenues. Like there's a lot of different ways to get to this card, and if your opponent skill drains you, you just place it in scale pop skill drain.
That would come in handy against the Dark World player.
Yeah, if you didn't like evenly match me and then play for like 20 minutes.
It happens. It happens.
He hand looped me game 1 too. Like God, that's such a rough one to lose the die roll to. But it happens.
I'm looking for.
So, Mr. the YouTuber formerly known as ActionYGO. I know he's telling. I'm just making jokes here. Any shouts or anything like that? And thank you for the deck profile. This is a very fascinating deck. I like how the 5 different decks synergize very well with each other.
It's just because they're plants, my dude. They just say the same thing.
Well, while you're out here being the Mr. Poison Ivy, I mean. But shout-outs, though. Shout-outs.
Shout out to Action Sports. Shout out to Ant-Man. Shout out to Bruce.
Bruce!
What up?
I didn't interact with him like at all today. He didn't help me with his deck at all, but I saw it, and Bruce is the man.
He is the man. Well, all right, YouTube. I am the one and only M816. There's always a move to make, and if I disappear, my wife did it. Have a good one.